Finally, I made it out of hell.
Son, are you finally out of that game? You can finally go back to school and get a job.
I just finished the ALfheim arc of SAO, and it is without a doubt the greatest anime that I've seen in the last day. After creating arguably the best SAO, they took one look at it and said, you know what would make this better? NTR, racism, and incest. As always, it's up to me to change the name of this anime to something a bit more realistic. Sword Art Online and ALfheim, where we are least related. My abducted, dress-up darling. And finally, one cucked, two cucked, sister cucked, Mr. Cucked. If you enjoyed Klein's 10 seconds of screen time, then be sure to subscribe to my channel and join my Discord. Let me give you a satire synopsis of this anime, which will contain spoilers. There is also a part 1 of this if you want to check it out. After returning from SAO, Kirito goes through 2 months of rehabilitation, which leads to the question, why does he keep this headset that held him prisoner in his room? No wonder he has PTSD attacks. We also meet Kirito's cousin, Sugaha, that was referenced earlier in the story. Her story arc revolves around incest bad? Meanwhile, Asuna and 300 other people haven't woken up since SAO shut down, so Kirito visits the old ball and chain quite a few times. On one visit, he runs into the graphic groomer himself, Sugo. He's set to marry Asuna through an arranged marriage by Asuna's father. Because if you get married in the game, you don't get married for real. Andrew gives Kirito information saying that Asuna has been spotted in another game, ALfheim Online, in a birdcage. May as well stick her in a castle, make Kirito dual-wield plungers, and give him a Bowser hat, because this is just Mario. Since we have reached the criteria for giving Andrew screen time, we won't be seeing him again. Unknown to Kirito, ALfheim's administrator is Sugo, who may or may not have kidnapped those 300 people and Asuna to study brainwashing. Kirito hooks into the Matrix, where he chooses to be a member of the Spriggan race, which is unfortunate, because he could have been a member of the Gnome race, which could have saved SAO. In this world, there's flight as well as magic, but Kirito masters these quickly, because he's just so cool. He also has all of his skills from SAO, because ALfheim was created, like most of my college papers, copy, paste, new title. Kirito brings his Tamagotchi back to life, which I'm sure will be extremely useful, since she is a system administrator.
You serious?
Meanwhile, Leafa, aka Sugaha, is being attacked, but Kirito stops them with one hand because he's just so cool. After saving her, Kirito meets Leafa's pet, Recon.
A black one, get down. All units requesting backup.
Taking the roleplay a little far, don't you think, Recon? After getting Guts' sword and deciding to help Kirito get to Serraldo Tree, Reki Kawahara decided to do the same thing that Sugo did. Copy, paste. Hey man, women aren't objects. Asuna can leave if she wants. Hey man, women aren't objects. Leafa can leave if she wants. He's just so cool. They have a simple plan. Go from point A to point B. Should take no time at all, right?
That makes sense to me.
In reality, they spend most of their time being chased by other races and preventing roleplay wars. At least in this time, Kirito builds a relationship with Leafa so that she stops falling in love with Kirito and falls in love with Kirito.
Are you sure about that?
It's the hard knock life for us. Celebrated, we entering.
Since time is of the utmost importance, Kirito takes a side quest, solving diplomatic disputes. Meanwhile, back on the Asuna cam,
Hey, how you doing, little mama? Let me whisper in your ear.
Kirito must fight the strongest person in the entire game, which should prove extremely difficult for him, is what a fool would say, because of course he wins. He's just so cool! This fight is cool and all, until you realize it's just a bunch of nerds role-playing. Now back in the real world, Leafa goes with Kirito to the hospital to scope out the competition. If anyone ever introduces me as Lunar Equinox, negative 1 KD, 1000 hours played, 0 women in his DMs, then just pull the plug on me. Meanwhile, back on the Asuna cam, they finally make it to the World Tree, and after a quick superhero landing, Kirito begins the raid boss to make it to the top. Since he is just so cool, he should have no problem. This is nothing for the coolness that is Kirito. Leafa, with her genius intuition, figures out that Kirito is actually her brother, so she blocks him in game, but unfortunately can't in real life. There's the line. This was domestic girlfriend before it was cool. Leaving only one question. Where are all the adults at? After having a fight, more useless than Ria's Grimory's clothes, they go again. This time with 3.5 people, because that'll make a difference. Recon sacrifices himself, give him a point. Well, that didn't help much. Don't worry though, Kirito gets some help from the women who fell in love with him the moment Kirito appeared in front of them. He reaches the top because he's just so cool. Open sesame!
Access denied.
After Tinkerbell gets them in, they're reunited with Asuna.
You triggered my trap card!
Sugo appears, giving us the most necessary scene in SAO until Kaiba Akihiko. Wait, what?
Hey guys, I'm Hackerman.
Kirito hacks into the system, turning the pain multiplier to stepping on a Lego pane, then proceeds to slowly stab Sugo because he's just so cool. Upon his victory, the ghost of a mass murderer appears, giving Kirito the shield. But who cares about all that? Asuna's awake, so Kirito runs to sneak attack. When Kirito told him on Discord that he wouldn't say that if he was in front of him, he took that personally. What Sugo didn't realize was that he was fighting the coolest man in the world. So of course he lost. Do it. Kirito, why did you leave the knife with him? Are you stupid? Good thing he has auto-regenerate. So when he reunites with Asuna, the blood is all gone. Turns out that the seed was Kaiba's program that allowed anybody to create a world. Surely we wouldn't give this out to the people, not knowing anything about it, considering it killed thousands of people and was created by a person who doesn't even remember why he did it, right? Right? Now, let's talk about the characters in this anime, beginning with Kirito, the man who wasted time doing side quests while his wife was being traumatized. In an attempt to make Kirito a more realistic protagonist with real problems, it now takes him a few days to become the strongest character in the game. My problem with Kirito this entire anime is, why don't you just buy 2 swords? He always has to steal Leafa's sword in order to win fights, or turn into a giant demon. But what else can you say? It's just Kirito doing Kirito things. Budget Hackerman tier. Leafa, the girl who didn't notice that this was Kirito, despite only having different hair, yet the same voice. Throughout this anime, she's torn between her 2 love interests of Kirito and Kirito, which leads to the question, why does she want to sleep with him so badly? Wait, it's because he's Kirito. Never mind. She, like all women in this anime, suffer from the Kirito effect, which immediately turns women into damsels in distress in his presence. Remember when she beat him in a sword fight at the beginning of the anime? Yeah, now she just stands in the back and heals him. Speaking of the fight, why does he stand like that? It's the equivalent of Naruto running. She also does just have a poster of herself hanging on the ceiling, which is weird. Cousins tier.
Just when I thought they couldn't get any stupider.
We get Sugo, who cries like a little girl. He captured 300 people, torturing them to create mind control technology. Sure, I am glad that he used that technology since it was a major plot point of the anime. His only personality trait is that he's a creepy guy. At least Kaiba was interesting. Shao Tucker tier. Hey, do you want a friend who can fit in your pocket? Introducing the brand new Pocket Lolly, which comes with a few features, such as sitting in your pocket. And that's about it. I didn't mind Yui in the first part of the season because she died so quickly, but this time I looked forward to her demise since she doesn't do anything. Death means nothing tier. Let's not forget about the peak of all males who say, why don't girls like me? I'm such a nice guy. Rekon. If I had to describe him simply, he's just that nerd emoji. He's very obsessed with Leafa, to the point that he's one heartbreak away from becoming Sugo. Rekon even goes to confess to Leafa, then immediately goes in for the kiss, because that's the move.
You're a little confused, but he got the spirit.
I guess he just thinks that she's a tsundere. Future offender tier. I don't even want to talk about Asuna in this. I just want the old Asuna back.
What about me? What about me?
Bring back Asuna tier. Time for final thoughts in rating the anime. The characters all sucked, which could have been fixed if we added more Klein. I mean, the most compelling character arc is I want something that I know I shouldn't, which she never moves past. The plot was just a budget SAO rebrand, which I'm gonna compare to Assassin's Creed. Nobody wants to play the human storyline. Being the assassin is the fun part. The animation felt weaker than part 1, so the fights weren't nearly as cool, if that's what you would call this. The OP is still good, but the music in general is the same, just not as good in most situations. They didn't add the dramatic effect that you felt in the first one. While my anime list gave this anime a score of 7.2 out of 10, I will be giving it a score of 7 extra swords Kirito should have had out of 10. In conclusion, this anime is bad on all fronts, but it's just so damn entertaining. Hello, just spent $1,000 to re-record Outro Learner here. Click here if you want to check out my channel, click over here if you want to see my recommended video, and click over here if you want to see my most recent video. Alright, I'm gonna go rethink my financial decisions now.